On Mondays, we lie on the floor. Welcome back to Drinking by My Shelves Mediocre Mondays. The series continues. It's time to play Book Trail. I brought this game back at the beginning of the year, but I've kind of just been shoving the bits where I do Book Trail onto the end of the Balancing the Books videos, and then I just decided, you know what? I love this little board. I love these little gems. They deserve their time in the sun, their chance to shine. So I'm gonna do individual book trail videos. I will link below to the original video where I announced what book trail is, because let's be honest, it's Mediocre Monday. I'm not going to do a very good job explaining it. Roughly speaking, I have a few challenges I've set myself. I get little gems for each one, and when I get to the end, I get to go on a shopping spree, and it doesn't count against me in Balancing the Books. And then I also have a little punishment row at the bottom. If I do not stick to my most important goals of reading diversely, I will get negative gems in there, and if I get to the end, then I will have to donate some money. And actually, I do want to ask you guys if you have any suggestions on where that money should be donated. Originally, in my first announcement video, I said I'd be donating the money to a Black-owned bookstore or publisher, but someone commented rightly that I hadn't really thought that one through, because my diversity goals at this point are to read authors of colour. I want to read really widely. And then I had just finished by saying I would donate specifically to a Black-owned bookstore, and someone pointed out that that didn't feel quite right. And you're right, I hadn't thought that one through. So I want to find a place to donate that, or possibly multiple places to donate, so that I am supporting authors of colour in a broader capacity. So yeah, any suggestions would be welcome, but let's get started. So challenge number 1 of Book Trail is the Buzzwordathon. Books and Lala runs a Buzzwordathon, and this year she's made it like a year-long challenge. There's a different buzzword for each month, and I thought that was fun, so I get a gem for every Buzzwordathon book that I read. So far this year, I haven't done very well. I managed the first month, and then I think I just missed February and March entirely. But in April, the buzzword was... what was it? Oh yeah. In April, the buzzword was like a general theme. It was any space or galaxy terms. And I think possibly both of these are a stretch, but I think I have 2 that fit this criteria. Right at the beginning of April, I read the book The Wongs vs. the World by Jade Chang, and I would say that the world is a space galaxy term. Maybe not a very technical one, maybe not a very scientific one, but if you're talking about like the galaxy, the universe, the world, the world is part of that. So where's my little gems? I'm going to give myself 1 big point for The Wongs versus the World, and then I have a second one, again possibly a stretch. This one actually I think maybe is better. I read Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. Bodies is definitely a term that is used when referring to things in space. Celestial bodies, for example. I even googled this and I read that there's a whole difference between celestial objects versus celestial bodies, and I've forgotten which way round they are, but I think like a meteor would be a celestial object, but planet Earth is a celestial body. I think that's right, and you know what? If you think I'm wrong, you can Google it, bitch. So, 2 gems on the board. Right, challenge number 2 for the book trail is the Reading Women challenge. If you hadn't noticed a theme, book trail is basically where I take other people's challenges and make myself do them. So Reading Women is a podcast, and they have an annual challenge where the whole goal is to encourage you to read more books by women and also to read more diversely. And so I don't think any of the books I read this month fit any of they're very, very specific challenges. I don't think I read any in April that fit a challenge I hadn't already completed, but I do still get a point because some of you pointed out in last month's book trail, which if you want to go and see it, you will find it on the end of last month's Balancing the Books, I didn't give myself a gem for one of the prompts that I ticked off. I read a poetry collection by a black woman, which was one of the prompts. I read All Along You Were Blooming, and then I never gave myself the gem for it. So, here she comes. Ta-da. Okay, challenge number 3 is one of my own challenges. This is to do with balancing the books. For every book that I bring my TBR down by each month, I get a point. So like, if I just balance the books exactly, 0 points. But if I manage to reduce my TBR, 1 point. You see where I'm getting? Okay, so if you haven't watched Balancing the Books yet and don't want spoilers, go and watch that first. But if you've already seen it, you will know by the end of this last month's Balancing the Books, I actually reduced my TBR by 1 book. Fantastic stuff. And so we have another gem. This is honestly the most successful book trail has been in the whole of 2021 so far. Right, challenge number 4, the final challenge in terms of forward progress, is based on reading books in translation. I wanted to encourage myself to read more books in translation because a lot of the books I have read in translation I have loved. In fact, I found out that of all of my 5-star books in 2020, 18% of them were in translation. So my challenge is to read 18% books in translation in total. Hang on, I need to go and get my phone with a list of everything I read because I haven't counted this in advance. Okay, so I read in April 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 10 books. 11 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 books. My god, why am I so bad at counting? Okay, of those 12 books, how many, if any, were in translation? Not that one? The answer is 0. What percentage of 12 is 0? Okay, so a bit of an anticlimactic end. I didn't get any extra gems for that one. And in fact, I don't think I've got any gems for this particular challenge the whole year so far. So in conclusion, I am going to make it a particular focus. Going forward, we need to actively seek out books in translation. I have some on my trolley. Let's do better, Emma. Okay, and then finally, let's see how I did in my overall reading more books by authors of colour goal. So again, what did I say? I read 12 books. Okay, and of those 12 books, 3 of them were written by authors of colour, which is exactly 25%. I don't think I told you my specific goal is I have to be reading at least 25% authors of colour throughout the year. So I'm bang on with that one, so I don't get a negative gem in here, but I will say I want to be doing better than that. 25% was like my lowest limit. So in conclusion, goals for May: seek out small books in translation and pay attention to reading more books by authors of colour. I hope all of your Mondays are much more than mediocre. Perhaps they will be magnificent, majestic. I'm going back to bed.